All right, let's get into a story that really pulls back the curtain on the brutal business of professional football. We're going to be talking about a conflict where winning and losing, they're not nearly as simple as they look. It's a situation where a team's entire future is literally weighed against its present soul. You'd think the biggest, most important games are always between two Super Bowl contenders, right? A couple of heavyweights just battling it out for the top spot. But honestly, that's not always where the real drama is. Yeah, sometimes the game with the biggest, most lasting impact is between two teams who have absolutely no chance of winning anything meaningful, at least not this year. It's this strange paradox that gets right to the heart of how teams are built in the first place. And that brings us to a matchup that some fans were calling the Tank Bowl. So let's break down exactly why a game between two really struggling teams could be so incredibly important. So check out this bizarre set of incentives. You've got the Raiders and the Giants, both having just awful seasons. Now, in the NFL, the teams with the worst records get the highest picks in the next draft. So here's the deal. If you win this game, you get bragging rights for a week. Woo! But if you lose, well, you get a much better shot at drafting a once-in-a-generation player who could change your entire franchise for the next 10 years. For the front office, the loss is actually way more valuable than the win. This whole weird situation brings up a really controversial word in sports, tanking. So what does that actually mean? Because it's not as simple as players just, not trying. It's way more complicated than that. See, the key thing to get here is that tanking is an organizational strategy. This is about the front office, the people upstairs, making these calculated moves about the roster. Who's playing, who's sitting, all with an eye on the future. And this is where that huge divide becomes crystal clear. The players and the coaches on that field, they are wired to win. I mean, their careers, their contracts, their pride, it all depends on it. They are never, ever trying to lose a game. But the front office, the people in the suits, they're playing a different game on a different timeline. They might make a strategic decision, like resting an injured star that, just so happens to make winning that week a whole lot harder. So let's see how this kind of thing actually plays out in the real world, because this is exactly the mess the Las Vegas Raiders found themselves in, and it led to this massive public blow-up with their best player. To really get this drama, you have to understand who Max Crosby is. He's not just some good player. The guy is the heart and soul of that Raiders defense. He's fiercely loyal, he's unbelievably tough, and he's the kind of player who can single-handedly win you a football game. Oh, and he's also been battling a pretty serious knee injury all season long, but has flat out refused to miss a game. So with these last two games having zero impact on the playoffs, the Raiders organization made a call. They went to their superstar and they told him they were shutting him down for this season officially, to protect him from getting hurt any worse. And Crosby's reaction was, immediate and explosive. According to the report from Jake Glazer, he didn't just disagree. He vehemently rejected the idea and then stormed right out of the team facility. This wasn't a private disagreement. This was a public detonation, an act that immediately put the future of the team's most beloved player in serious doubt. This whole blow-up creates a really tough dilemma with two very valid but completely opposite points of view. So what was this? Was it a smart, sensible business decision, or was it a flat-out betrayal of what it means to compete? Okay, so on one hand, the team's logic makes perfect sense. Why on earth would you risk a career-altering injury to your best player in a meaningless game? You protect your multi-million-dollar asset for the future. But from Crosby's perspective, this feels like a betrayal. He's been putting his body on the line all season long. And for the team to suddenly turn around and say, it's not worth it anymore, that feels like they're giving up, that they're prioritizing a draft pick over the guys in that locker room. And the fallout from a decision like this, it goes way beyond just one game or hurting one player's feelings. This kind of thing can actually do fundamental damage to the culture of an entire organization. Because the second an organization signals that losing is acceptable, or worse, that it's actually a good thing, it sends a really dangerous message. It can create this toxic, losing mindset that is incredibly hard to get rid of. You want your players to be passionate, to care about winning every single week. When you tell them not to, you risk breaking that competitive spirit for good. And really, that's what this all boils down to. It's the cold, hard logic of managing assets versus the passionate, beating heart of what it means to be a competitor. Sure, a high draft pick might bring you a new superstar, but what good is that player if he walks into a locker room that has forgotten how to win? So we're left with this really fundamental question. In the high-stakes world of pro sports, where do you draw the line between a smart business move and just plain betrayal? It's a question the Raiders are wrestling with right now, and one that really has no easy answer.